Okay, I want you to do something for me right now. Just picture your brain.
Oh,
No, just for a second. Visualize it. If it's anything like mine, it probably looks like a web browser with about 57 tabs open.
yes. Painfully accurate.
You've got the news in one tab, a work email half written in another, a grocery list floating around, and then just this low-level hum of anxiety playing on a loop in the background.
Like a video that just will not stop buffering.
Yeah.
I think for most of us, that idea of stillness, it feels like a concept we read about, not something we actually experience.
Exactly. We're all looking for a shortcut, right? A button to just mute the world for 5 minutes. And that brings us to today's deep dive.
It does.
We're looking at a source that promises exactly that, a solution to the noise. But, and this is where it gets really interesting, the solution is, well, it's very specific. And honestly, a little bit out there.
It is. We're looking at a digital course. It's titled Step Into Stillness with Serenara. And on the surface, you see the sales page. It looks like a standard meditation guide. It's got the calm colors, the promise of relief.
But when you dig
into the curriculum,
Yeah.
and it's a massive curriculum, it's doing something quite different.
Yeah, this isn't just, close your eyes and count to 10. This is billed as a journey to emotional harmony, inner peace, and soulful resilience. And it's guided by an entity, I think that's the right word for it, named Serenara.
Right. And for anyone thinking, okay, who's the instructor? A psychologist, a yoga teacher.
Yeah.
That is the first curveball.
Yeah.
Because Serenara isn't a person you'd bump into at the coffee shop.
Definitely not. So our mission today is to unpack this whole thing. Who or what is Serenara? We're going to break down this massive 13-module curriculum.
13 module.
And it covers everything from interdimensional wisdom all the way down to just cleaning your bedroom. We're going to see how this course tries to mix this high-concept metaphysical lore with really grounded, practical habits.
It's a fascinating blend, isn't it? You have the esoteric on one side, crystals, guardians, light energy, and then the deeply pragmatic on the other. Boundaries, rest, organizing your space.
So let's start with the big one. Who is Serenara? Because the source, it does not beat around the bush. It says she is one of the 24 Maninkari Crystal Guardians. Now, I'll be honest, when I read Maninkari Crystal Guardian, my skeptic alarm went off a little bit. It sounds like something from a fantasy novel. What are we dealing with here?
Let's just pause on that terminology because it is intense. Maninkari Crystal Guardians.
Right.
If you aren't already in this specific niche of metaphysical thinking, it absolutely sounds like science fiction. The source describes them as part of a greater tapestry woven through light, crystal intelligence, and interdimensional wisdom.
Okay, wait. Crystal intelligence. We need to define that. Are we
Yeah.
talking about computer chips or rocks?
Well, in this context, it's the metaphysical idea that crystals hold a stable, high-frequency vibration. So crystal intelligence is essentially a form of consciousness that's ordered, calm, and unchanging.
The opposite of my brain.
The complete opposite of our chaotic, fluctuating human minds, yes.
Okay, that actually helps. So Serenara she's the personification of that stability.
Exactly. Her specific domain, her job, you could say, within this Maninkari group, is serenity. The text says she offers a balm for the heart and provides clarity where there's confusion.
So she's like the metaphysical equivalent of noise-canceling headphones.
In a way, yes. But the source makes an interesting distinction. There's a note on the Maninkari journey in the intro. It mentions there's a whole foundational book, a separate course, that explains this entire world in depth.
A whole cosmology.
A whole cosmology. But this course, this specific one, says you don't have to do all that homework.
Which seems designed for the person who is stressed out now.
Exactly. It says this one stands alone. It's for people ready to say yes to peace immediately.
That's a smart move. Because sometimes you don't want the lore, you just want the panic attack to stop.
Precisely. You don't need the history of the fire extinguisher. You just want to put out the fire. And from a psychological perspective, there's something really powerful about this.
Okay.
Whether you see Serenara as a literal interdimensional being or just an archetype, the function is the same. It lets the learner externalize peace.
What do you mean by that? Externalizing peace. We're always told peace comes from within.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
But think about when you are in a state of high anxiety. If I tell you to find the calm inside you, you might look inside and just find more screaming.
That's true. It's usually a cacophony in there.
Right. So by projecting peace onto this guardian figure, Serenara, you have something outside of yourself to hold on to. You aren't generating calm from your own depleted battery. You're stepping into her calm.
You're borrowing her stability until you can build your own.
It takes the pressure off.
That makes so much sense. It's like leaning on a friend who's really chill when you're freaking out.
You borrow their nervous system regulation. And the course is structured to do exactly that.
Okay, let's get into that progression, because when I saw 13 modules, I thought, wow, that is a lot of content for a course that costs, get this, £19.95.
It's incredibly dense for that price. It's comprehensive.
So module 1 is meeting Serenara, and right away the lesson titles grab me. Lesson 1 is the whisper of serenity, and then lesson 3 is the power of the pause.
The power of the pause is foundational. The course defines peace not as a fleeting mood, but as a grounded and sustainable way of being.
So it's moving from peace as a vacation to peace as, like, your baseline?
Exactly.
But how, I mean, just pause is easier said than done when the kids are yelling and the phone's ringing.
It frames the pause as a disruption of the autopilot we all live on. Stimulus, reaction, stimulus, reaction. The pause creates this tiny gap between the two. And that gap, that's where Serenara lives. That's where choice lives.
There was one lesson in that first module that really stood out to me. Lesson 5, releasing the emotional armor.
Yes. That is a heavy concept, but a necessary one.
I feel like emotional armor is the perfect description for how we walk around, just braced for impact constantly, shoulders up to our ears, jaw clenched.
Waiting for the bad news, we are. And that armor is heavy. It exhausts us. The Course suggests that before you can find stillness, you have to feel safe enough to take that armor off.
But that's the scary part, right? That's why we wear it. It protects us.
Which is why the Course links this directly to Module 4, Lesson 6, Rest as a Sacred Act.
That is such a crucial reframe. In our culture, rest it's laziness, or something you only do when you crash.
Exactly. We treat rest as recovery from labor. This module flips it completely. It positions rest as an active, sacred act, something you do to honor yourself, not just to pat yourself up so you can go back to the grind.
I love that. It makes rest proactive instead of reactive. And then, moving into modules 5 and 6, the language shifts a bit. We get the flow of emotional harmony. It talks about the art of emotional listening.
And this is where the rubber really meets the road. Emotional listening implies that we usually just ignore our emotions or suppress them.
Yeah, you feel a twinge of sadness, you scroll Instagram, you feel angry, you swallow it.
Right. Instead, the Course encourages creating an emotional sanctuary space.
That sounds lovely, but what does it mean practically? Is it a physical room?
It can be, but it's mainly a mental construct. It means creating a space where your emotions are allowed to exist without judgment.
So instead of, I shouldn't be angry, it's more like, okay, I'm listening to this anger, what's it trying to tell me?
That shift from suppression to listening is often what dissolves the tension. You're treating your emotions like guests rather than intruders.
Okay, so we start with the pause, we take off the armor, we learn to listen. That's the inner work. But then the Course pivots, because we can't just stay in our sanctuary forever. We have to deal with other people.
The dreaded other people. The ultimate test of serenity.
Exactly. And module 2, serenity in relationships. This is where that metaphysical language starts to sound very practical again. Lesson 3 is called the Serenara Shield.
The shield. It's a classic visualization technique, but it is vital for anyone with high empathy.
And absolutely, if my friend is stressed, suddenly I'm stressed.
That's what psychologists call porous boundaries. And Lesson 5 addresses that directly. Empathy without overwhelm.
That's the holy grail, isn't it? How do I care about you without being destroyed by you?
It really is. The Course suggests using the shield not to block people out, but to filter the energy.
So you witness their struggle without absorbing it.
You care, but you stay in your own lane energetically.
The Course also has a lesson in Module 12, Serenara's method for harmonizing clashing energies, which sounds like something you'd need at a family Thanksgiving.
Or a board meeting. It acknowledges that friction is inevitable. The question is, do you add fuel to the fire or do you bring water?
And we actually see this in the customer reviews. This isn't just theory. There's one from a user named Gail. She's a teacher.
Oh, right, I saw that one. She mentioned using blue lace agate.
Yes, a crystal.
Yeah.
But listen to the result. She said it helped her bring clarity, eloquence, and a calm environment to her students.
And if anyone on this planet needs a calm environment, it is a teacher.
Absolutely. But notice what happened there. She didn't just feel better herself. She changed the environment for everyone else. That's the harmony part radiating outward.
That's a key insight. When you regulate your own nervous system, you become a tuning fork for the room. Gail became the Serenara for her students.
She borrowed the calm from the Course and then she lent it to the kids. There were other reviews too. Michael T. said he stopped constant overthinking. I mean, that's a huge claim. Overthinking is the modern human condition.
It is, and it's usually a symptom of not feeling safe. If you're constantly scanning for threats, you aren't in stillness. You're in survival mode.
And Sarah J., this one made me smile. She rediscovered her sense of humor.
That is actually a very profound metric for mental health.
You think so? I just thought it was a nice little bonus.
Oh, definitely. Think about it. When we're in survival mode, when that emotional armor is on tight, we don't laugh. Genuine humor, the ability to play, that only comes back when the nervous system feels safe.
That is a great point. Play requires safety. So her getting her humor back suggests the course actually worked on a deep level.
Exactly. It's a sign of a regulated nervous system.
Okay, so we've got the inner self, relationships, but the course goes even wider. It goes into the physical world. Modules 9 through 13 are all about environment and energy hygiene.
Yes, this is where it moves from psychology back into the more metaphysical practices.
Energy hygiene. I feel like I need to wash my hands just hearing that. But it makes sense. Module 9 is harmonizing your environment.
And this is where we get into the practical side of the Maninkari wisdom. We get cleansing and clearing with intention and creating a personal haven.
So it's basically clean your room but make it spiritual?
In a sense, but it's more about the intention behind the space. Is your home recharging you, or is it another drain? If your physical space is cluttered, your mind will mirror that.
And this is where the crystals come back in a big way. Module 10, Crystals of Tranquility. We mentioned blue lace agate, but the reviews also mention Anandalite.
Yes, Gail mentioned it offered her gifts of serenity.
I looked this one up. It's not your standard quartz.
No, it's quite specific. In crystal lore, Anandalite is often associated with divine bliss or high-frequency light energy. It fits perfectly with the whole Maninkari theme.
Now, I know some listeners might be rolling their eyes at the crystal stuff, but the Course pairs these crystals with specific rituals. The Serenity Stone ritual, the Breath of Stillness, Sacred Sound.
And those rituals are important, whether you believe the rock has magic powers or not. They act as anchors.
Anchors.
Psychological anchors. If you're feeling frantic, having a specific physical object, like a smooth, cool stone, gives you something tangible to touch. A specific breath pattern gives you something to do. It interrupts the spiral.
It's a pattern interrupt. I like that. It pulls you out of your head and into your hand.
Exactly. It grounds you. And if you've associated that stone with calm through practice, just touching it can trigger a relaxation response. It's conditioning.
So it's Pavlovian, but with prettier props.
Effectively, yes. Whatever works.
Moving on to Module 11, Energetic Protection. Lesson 3 is about recognizing energy leaks. I find this concept fascinating.
Energy leaks. That is such a useful concept, even if you strip away all the metaphysics.
What does that look like to you, an energy leak?
Well, it could be a grudge you're holding on to that's burning energy in the background constantly. It could be doom scrolling on social media. That's a huge leak. It's anything that slowly drains your battery until you're empty.
And the solution. Module 12 talks about daily energy hygiene rituals.
Just like you brush your teeth, you do these rituals to prevent burnout. It's preventative maintenance for your mood.
And lesson 4 in that module, reading the language of energy in a room. That sounds like a spy skill. It's essentially intuition training. Trusting your gut when you walk into a space. Is this place tense? And if it is, how do you keep your Serenara shield up so you don't absorb it?
I have to say, the sheer scope of this 13 modules, intuition training, crystal guides, relationship advice, it is wild that this is a one-time purchase. It feels like a toolbox you'd keep for years.
It's a very comprehensive toolkit, and I think that speaks to the ethos behind it. It seems genuinely designed to be a resource.
So let's zoom out. We've gone from the whisper of serenity to the shield to the crystals on the shelf. How would you sum up the journey this course takes you on?
It seems to move in concentric circles. It starts at the center, that still point within, that internal pause. Then it moves outward to your relationships, your immediate interactions. And finally, it expands to your physical environment and your daily energetic hygiene.
So it's inside out.
Exactly. You can't fix the environment if you're chaotic inside, but you also can't stay calm inside if your environment is chaotic. It addresses both ends. And for the listener who might still be skeptical about Crystal Guardians, why should they care about this? Why not just download a mindfulness app?
Because sometimes those apps are too sterile. Even if you strip away all the metaphysical language, the curriculum is offering a very structured, very warm approach to nervous system regulation.
It feels more personal.
It does. It's teaching you to pause, to set boundaries, to curate your environment, to rest. These are all valid psychological tools. The Serenara figure just gives you a narrative framework to make those habits stick.
It mythologizes it, almost,
Yeah.
which makes it more interesting than just breathing techniques.
Precisely. It turns calming down into a sacred journey. And for a lot of people, that shift in perspective is what makes all the difference.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave everyone with one specific idea from the very end of the course. It really stuck with me. Module 13, The Art of Conscious Restoration and Renewal.
Yes, this is a beautiful place to land.
There's a lesson in there, Lesson 7, called The Art of Energetic Closure.
Energetic closure. That is a powerful phrase.
We usually think of closure as this big dramatic thing, right? Like after a bad breakup. It's a one-time event that happens years later.
Right. We wait for it. We think it's something someone else has to give us.
But this module suggests practicing closure daily.
Think about the implications of that. The art of energetic closure implies that at the end of every single day, you close the loops. You release the annoying conversations. You put down the worries about tomorrow. You consciously close the energy of the day before you go to sleep.
Instead of carrying all that residue into the next morning.
Exactly. Imagine how much lighter we would all feel if we didn't wake up carrying the emotional baggage of the last 3 weeks, just because we never took a moment to say, that is finished.
It's like clearing your cache.
It is. It's rebooting the system so you can start fresh.
That is something I think I'm going to try tonight. Just closing the tabs. Literally and metaphorically.
It's a powerful practice. And it's free.
Well, whether you're ready to meet a crystal guardian or you just want to stop yelling at traffic, it sounds like Serenara has something to offer. That's all for this deep dive. Go find some stillness.
And protect your peace.